The Force is old and full of shadows.
The arena of death. The Geonosian sun beats down on the Petranaki arena, turning the orange dust into a shimmering heat haze. The air itself seems to burn. Over 200 Jedi are scattered across the arena floor, their lightsabers flashing as they battle endless waves of battle droids. The roar of blaster fire echoes off the high stone walls. Bodies, Jedi and droid alike, litter the sand. Count Dooku watches from the high balcony, flanked by separatist leaders. His aristocratic face shows satisfaction. The Jedi, led by Mace Windu, are losing. Badly. What began as a rescue mission has become a massacre. Perhaps 24 Jedi remain alive. They stand in a ragged circle at the arena's center, surrounded by countless battle droids. Blasters point at them from every direction. The survivors are exhausted, wounded, their robes torn and bloodied. Mace Windu's purple blade hums at the ready, but even he knows the situation is hopeless. Obi-Wan Kenobi positions himself back-to-back with Anakin Skywalker, breathing hard. Anakin's prosthetic right hand, lost at the start of this battle, grips his lightsaber tightly. "There's too many of them," Obi-Wan says, voice strained. "I'm not giving up," Anakin responds, jaw clenched. Dooku's amplified voice booms across the arena. "Master Windu, you have fought gallantly, worthy of recognition in the archives of the Jedi Order. But now it is finished. Surrender and your lives will be spared." "We will not be hostages to be bartered, Dooku," Mace responds grimly. The battle droid commander speaks in mechanical monotone. "Jedi, drop your weapons." The surviving Jedi glance at each other. This is the end. They all know it. High above, Dooku gives a subtle nod. The droids prepare to open fire and end the Jedi once and for all. Then everything changes. From the shadow of a crumbling archway at the arena's edge, a hooded figure steps forward. His dark cloak billows in the hot Geonosian breeze. A lightsaber hilt is visible at his belt, but he hasn't drawn it yet. "I believe you are the ones who should surrender," the figure says, his voice calm and commanding. All eyes turn toward the stranger. The Jedi, the droids, even Dooku on the balcony pause in shock. The hooded man steps into the sunlight, revealing a face none present recognize. A man in his late 30s with sandy brown hair and piercing blue eyes. He carries himself with the confidence of a seasoned warrior. Mace Windu narrows his eyes, uncertain of this newcomer's allegiance. Obi-Wan and Anakin exchange puzzled glances. The battle droid commander announces, "Identify yourself." The stranger slowly pulls back his hood. "Just a friend. A friend of the Jedi." Without another word, he stretches out his right hand toward the surrounding droids. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. Then dozens of battle droids are lifted off the ground as if caught in a giant invisible hand. The droids closest to the Jedi circle are thrown backward into those behind them, collapsing into heaps of metal. The entire formation wavers in disarray. Murmurs of astonishment ripple through the surviving Jedi. Kit Fisto grins in surprise. "I'll take all the friends we can get right now." Count Dooku's eyes narrow from the balcony, sensing the Force being used in a way he didn't anticipate. "Who is that?" The stranger, Luke Skywalker, though only he knows that name, strides forward through the gap he's created in the droid lines. He comes to stand in front of the surviving Jedi, facing outward toward the separatist forces. A few battle droids recover and open fire. Blaster bolts lance through the air toward Luke. In a blur of motion, he raises his left hand. The bolts freeze mid-air, suspended by the Force. With a casual flick of his wrist, Luke redirects the blaster bolts harmlessly into the ground. Anakin's eyes widen. How is he doing that? Obi-Wan is equally astonished. "I have no idea." The droids hesitate, their simple processors trying to make sense of a target who can stop blaster bolts without a lightsaber. Mace Windu seizes the opportunity. "Attack now!" The Jedi spring into action with renewed hope. But Luke has already moved. In a flash of green light, his lightsaber ignites, the blade a brilliant emerald hue. He moves with blinding speed and graceful precision, a one-man whirlwind among the droids. His lightsaber forms an almost solid wall of green light as he deflects a hail of blaster fire effortlessly. He fights with a form unfamiliar to the Jedi present, economical, refined, powerful. Each strike lands decisively, often taking down multiple foes in one swing. Anakin watches, momentarily awestruck. The way the stranger moves seems somehow familiar, and yet Anakin is sure he's never met this man. There's an aura of the Force around him that Anakin finds both comforting and astonishingly powerful. As the Jedi leap back into battle, they find the odds have drastically shifted. Inspired by Luke's intervention and uncanny abilities, they rally. The circle of survivors breaks formation and goes on the offensive. Master Kit Fisto lets out a triumphant laugh as he and Plo Koon fight back-to-back, lightsabers whirling. Luminara Unduli and her Padawan Barriss Offee coordinate graceful strikes that fell a towering super battle droid. Shaak Ti deflects shots aimed at Ki-Adi-Mundi, who uses the Force to shove a cluster of battle droids aside like toy soldiers. Luke is at the forefront, carving a path through the droid ranks, heading directly for the raised balcony where Count Dooku stands. Dooku recovers from his surprise, speaking into a wrist comb. All droid units, focus fire on that man. On his command, dozens of battle droids and several droidekas roll forward, concentrating their fire on Luke. Luke stops his advance and stands his ground. Blaster bolts converge on him from all sides. He closes his eyes briefly, immersing himself in the Force. With his lightsaber in one hand and his other hand raised open-palmed, Luke demonstrates an ability the Jedi have never seen. A shimmering bubble of light-side energy coalesces around him, a protection bubble, absorbing and deflecting the torrents of blaster fire. Golden sparks flicker across the bubble's surface as the energy dissipates harmlessly. Ki-Adi-Mundi's eyes widen. Incredible. Recognizing that blaster fire is useless, the droidekas roll closer and deploy their own shields, unleashing rapid volleys. Luke shifts tactics. He extends his free hand toward the first droideka and makes a crushing gesture. The droideka's shield fizzles out, and the droid itself implodes, crumpling as if squeezed by a giant fist. He gestures to the second droideka and sends it hurtling into a cluster of battle droids. The remaining droids start to pull back, their hesitant movement a reaction to the impossible threat this lone Jedi presents. On the balcony, Jango Fett, having survived his earlier confrontation with Mace Windu, seizes this chance. Jetpack flaring, he launches himself into the air, firing down at Luke with his twin blasters in a furious barrage. Luke senses the incoming danger. He leaps backward with a Force-assisted somersault, just as Jango's blaster bolts pepper the ground where he stood. Landing gracefully, Luke looks up at the incoming Mandalorian bounty hunter. Jango hovers and fires a concentrated stream of bolts at Luke. The emerald blade spins in Luke's hand with inhuman speed, forming a shimmering shield that deflects every shot. The last deflected bolt sings straight back at Jango's blaster, blowing the weapon apart in his grip. Jango curses and reaches for his second pistol, but Luke is faster. With a wave of his hand, Luke sends a powerful Force push. Jango is caught mid-air by the invisible wave and flung backwards. The bounty hunter crashes against the arena wall and falls to the ground with a thud, armor smoking. Dazed and injured, Jango tries to stand, but before he can retrieve his weapon, Coleman Traber, a Jedi Master who Jango had nearly killed moments before, steps in and places the tip of his lightsaber at Jango's neck. "Don't move," Coleman says breathlessly, nodding gratefully toward Luke. Up on the balcony, Count Dooku scowls. The battle below has completely turned against him. Jedi, once moments from defeat, now press the attack, cutting down the dwindling droid forces. And this stranger, this impossibility, is spearheading the victory. Dooku turns to Archduke Poggle the Lesser and the other separatist leaders. "It appears this battle is no longer in our favor. We must retreat." His pride is wounded, but his strategic mind remains clear. He gestures to his personal bodyguards. Suddenly, a massive roar echoes overhead. Through the open roof of the arena, LAAT Republic gunships descend, guns blazing at the remaining droids. Yoda has arrived with the clone army. The leading gunship hovers low, its side doors open. Master Yoda stands at the opening, flanked by clone troopers. Around the survivors, a perimeter create. Clone troopers repel or jump down, forming up around the surviving Jedi and Luke. They lay down covering fire as more gunships deploy ATT walkers and additional troops beyond the arena. Mace looks immensely relieved. Master Yoda, perfect timing as always. The remaining droids in the arena are swiftly mopped up. Within a minute, the once hostile arena falls silent, except for the crackle of damaged circuitry and the moans of wounded. Luke deactivates his lightsaber. The green blade retracts with a hiss, and he clips the weapon back to his belt. The Jedi gather, still catching their breath, and regard the newcomer with a mixture of gratitude, curiosity, and wariness. Anakin and Obi-Wan approach Luke first, their expressions filled with wonder. Mace, Plo Koon, Kit Fisto, and others soon join, loosely encircling Luke. Yoda's gunship lands, and the ancient master hobbles forward, leaning on his gimmer stick, eyes sharp as he takes in the stranger. Obi-Wan respectfully inclines his head. "Thank you for your assistance. We owe you our lives." Luke smiles kindly. "I couldn't stand by and watch good Jedi die." Anakin's eyes are bright with admiration. "That was amazing. I've never seen anyone fight like that." Who are you?" Luke pauses, looking at Anakin with a strange, soft expression, as if seeing a ghost or a cherished memory. For a moment, Luke doesn't reply, clearly struggling with deep emotion upon seeing his father as a young man. He quickly masters himself. "My name is Luke." He hesitates, then simply adds, "I'm a Skywalker." A jolt of surprise runs through those close enough to hear. Obi-Wan's eyes widen in shock. Anakin stiffens. "Skywalker? That's my name?" Anakin says, frowning in confusion. "A common name on Tatooine, perhaps?" Luke deflects quickly. The explanation isn't particularly convincing. Obi-Wan's gaze flicks between Luke and Anakin, noting the resemblance now. The similar hair, the intense blue eyes. Anakin is clearly perplexed, trying to process this. Before anyone can press further, Mace Windu steps forward, businesslike even amid the puzzlement. "Luke, you've proven yourself a formidable ally. On behalf of the Jedi Council, I thank you. Your intervention saved many lives today." He gives a slight bow of respect. Luke returns the bow humbly. "Master Windu, Masters, I only did what was right." Yoda studies Luke carefully, ears perked. "Powerful you are, in the Force." Yes. Gratitude you have, from the Council. But answers we seek, Unusual this situation is. Luke meets Yoda's gaze, and for a moment a flicker of a warm smile graces his face, seeing Yoda alive again, vibrant and strong, touches something in him. But Luke remains composed. "I understand, you have questions. I will answer what I can." Plo Koon steps forward, his voice deep and filtered through his Antioch's mask. "The battle is not yet over. Count Dooku and the Separatist leaders are escaping even as we speak. Indeed, the distant sounds of conflict beyond the arena walls indicate the larger battle between the newly arrived clone army and the Separatist forces on the Geonosian plains." Obi-Wan looks toward the balcony where Dooku was. The Count is gone. "Anakin, we need to go after Dooku," Obi-Wan says urgently. "If Dooku escapes, this war will spread." "Agree I do," Yoda says. "Capture Dooku we must if possible." Anakin steps forward eagerly. "Master, I'll go with you." Obi-Wan nods, then glances at Luke, uncertain. Luke Skywalker, the name still strange in Obi-Wan's mouth. "You've already done so much, but will you help us? Dooku is a Sith Lord. I sense it, and I suspect you do too." Luke's expression hardens at the mention of Sith Lord. He knows exactly what Dooku is and who Dooku serves. This moment, the chance to potentially capture Dooku here and now, could alter everything he knows about the dark path ahead. He silently recalls what he knows from his own timeline. Dooku is a shatterpoint, a key to ending the war before it truly begins. If Dooku is removed, Palpatine's carefully laid plans might begin to crack. "I'll help," Luke says firmly. Mace raises a hand. "Be mindful, all of you. Dooku is extremely dangerous. We will dispatch additional Jedi to support." "Take a gunship, you should," Yoda says, already moving toward one. "Quick transport." Without wasting another moment, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Luke sprint to a waiting Republic gunship on the arena floor. Clone troopers secure the area and tend to wounded Jedi as the trio hops onto the gunship. The pilot lifts off, and the ship soars out of the arena into the chaos beyond. The chase. The landscape outside the arena is a war zone. Lines of clone troopers fire blasters at ranks of battle droids across the red desert plains. ATT walkers lumber forward, cannons blasting. Plumes of smoke rise from crashed gunships and smoldering wreckage. The sky is filled with starfighters chasing one another in lethal dances. In the midst of this, a single Geonosian speeder bike zips away from the arena, carrying Count Dooku. The elderly Sith Lord is hooded now, cloak flapping as he races toward a rocky hangar bay where his solar sailor starship awaits. Following close behind in the air are 3 Geonosian starfighters escorting him. Inside the gunship, Anakin stands at the open side door, scanning the horizon. He points ahead. "There! Dooku's heading for that hangar. The gunship banks sharply toward the distant cave-like hangar entrance carved into a cliffside. As it approaches, the escorting Geonosian fighters break off and swoop toward the Republic gunship, firing plasma bolts. "Hold on, we're taking fire," the pilot shouts. The gunship jinks as explosions burst around it. Obi-Wan braces himself, gripping a handhold. Anakin steadies his stance and uses the Force to swivel one of the gunship's side cannons, returning fire on the Geonosian ships. One fighter is hit and spirals into the ground in a fireball. Luke places a hand on the pilot's shoulder, his voice calm with authority. "Get us as close to that hangar as you can." "Yes, sir," the pilot grits his teeth, evading enemy fire. The remaining Geonosian fighters strafe the gunship, but Luke extends his palm and concentrates. For a brief moment, one of the fighters wobbles as if hit by turbulence. The pilot inside panics as his controls resist. With a sharp gesture, Luke causes the fighter to veer off, clipping the rock wall and disintegrating on impact. The final Geonosian starfighter peels away, its pilot deciding against further attacks after seeing the fate of his wingman. The gunship swoops down and hovers at the entrance of the hangar. Inside the dimly lit cave, Count Dooku's solar sailor is visible and primed for launch. Dooku himself has dismounted from his speeder and is striding toward his ship. Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Luke leap out of the hovering gunship and land on the hangar floor with practiced Jedi grace. The moment their boots hit the ground, the gunship peels away to avoid presenting a stationary target. The Duel. Count Dooku pauses at the sound of the trio landing behind him. He turns slowly to face them, pulling back his hood. His aged face is composed, though a thin sheen of sweat betrays the strain of the battle and escape. He regards the unexpected third member of the party, Luke, with a mix of curiosity and wariness. Master Kenobi, young Skywalker, his eyes settle on Luke, and an unknown Jedi. He offers a thin, diplomatic smile. "I suppose congratulations are in order. That was a most impressive rescue back there." Obi-Wan ignites his blue lightsaber. "Surrender, Dooku. You're not escaping this time." Anakin ignites his own blue lightsaber, stepping forward with anger flashing in his eyes. "You won't get away, Dooku. Not after all the Jedi you just killed." Luke does not immediately ignite his weapon. He steps forward between Obi-Wan and Anakin, slightly ahead of them, and fixes Dooku with a calm, penetrating gaze. "Count Dooku, you are beaten. There is no escape. Lay down your arms, and this can end now, without further violence." Luke's voice is steady, authoritative. Dooku raises an eyebrow, clearly intrigued by Luke's self-assured command. "Your assistance in the arena was unexpected and formidable. Might I inquire as to your name, Master Jedi?" "My name is Luke Skywalker," Luke responds firmly. Dooku's eyes flicker with recognition at the surname Skywalker, but he says nothing of it. "Skywalker," a thin smile. "I see. The Force is strong with you." His gaze hardens. "However, you are grievously mistaken if you think I will surrender." Dooku slowly draws aside his cloak, revealing the curved hilt of his ornate lightsaber. With a snap hiss, a blood-red blade springs to life. "It is unfortunate that our meeting must be on the battlefield. I bear you no ill will, but I will not be taken prisoner." Obi-Wan steps to Luke's side, taking a defensive stance. "We'll see about that." In a blur of motion, Anakin charges forward aggressively. "For all the Jedi you murdered today," Anakin yells, bringing his blade down in a powerful overhand strike. The Count, a master of lightsaber combat, reacts with elegant efficiency. He sidesteps and parries Anakin's strike with ease using Makashi, his one-handed riposte guiding Anakin's blade harmlessly aside. Dooku counters with a surge of Force lightning from his free hand. Brilliant blue tendrils of Sith lightning coalesce and blast toward Anakin. "Anakin!" Obi-Wan warns. But before the lightning can strike Anakin, Luke is already there. He raises his hand and catches the lightning, not with a blade, but with the Force itself. The blue energy crackles around Luke's outstretched hand, illuminating his face. Luke stands firm, absorbing the attack with only a grimace of concentration. Dooku's eyes widen in surprise. Few have ever simply stopped his lightning bare-handed. Luke thrusts his hand forward, dissipating the lightning harmlessly into the air. "Anakin, Obi-Wan, together!" Luke commands. He ignites his green lightsaber. Now Luke, Obi-Wan, and Anakin advance on Dooku, spreading out to flank the Count. Dooku is momentarily on the defensive as three lightsabers come at him from different angles. He blocks a slash from Obi-Wan on his left, twists to parry a thrust from Anakin on his right, and ducks under a quick swipe from Luke aimed at his lightsaber hilt to disarm him. 3 against 1, and I am the one at a disadvantage? Dooku grits his teeth. Despite the bravado, Dooku knows he's in peril. These 3 opponents together are overwhelming. He needs to divide them. With a thrust of his free hand, Dooku sends out a force wave. Obi-Wan and Anakin are pushed backward. Obi-Wan slides across the hangar floor, maintaining his footing but giving Dooku some space, and Anakin is sent tumbling to the ground momentarily. Luke, however, cuts through the telekinetic wave like a ship through water. He seems to brace himself with the Force, sliding only a few feet back. In an instant, he lunges forward again, striking at Dooku with a dazzling flurry of blows, faster than any form Dooku has seen. Dooku's eyes widen as he's driven back toward the wall, barely keeping up with Luke's assault. Sparks fly as green and red blades clash again and again. Luke's face is calm, focused, almost serene, yet each strike he delivers carries astonishing power. Dooku struggles to find an opening. He hasn't faced an opponent of Luke's caliber since Yoda himself. Obi-Wan comes in again from the side, slashing for Dooku's legs. The Count leaps to avoid it, flipping over Obi-Wan, but as he lands, he's met by Anakin, who has recovered and is swinging down hard. Dooku blocks Anakin's strike, their blades locked and sizzling. Anakin pushes against Dooku's saber, anger in his voice. "You won't hurt anyone else?" Dooku sneers, though sweat beads on his brow. "Such passion, young Skywalker." "Anger, but you have not learned to use it." Dooku suddenly disengages and steps back, thrusting his hand and unleashing another torrent of Force lightning, this time a wider blast aiming to stagger all 3 opponents. Luke swiftly crosses his saber in front of him, absorbing some of the lightning on the blade, while simultaneously reaching out with his other hand to divert the rest upward into the ceiling. The lightning scorches the hangar roof, raining sparks. Seizing the distraction, Dooku leaps backward with the Force, landing on a platform that gives him higher ground. He extends an arm and uses the Force to yank down a large crane holding a stack of heavy Geonosian crates and machinery. The entire apparatus begins to collapse toward Obi-Wan and Anakin. "Look out!" Luke shouts urgently. With a wave of his hand, Luke halts the plummeting crane mid-fall. The massive structure groans in protest, suspended by Luke's telekinetic hold. Obi-Wan and Anakin scramble clear. Luke cannot press the attack while he's keeping the crane from crushing his friends. Dooku uses this moment. He aims his hand at a fuel conduit along the wall and rips it open with the Force. A jet of sparks and flame erupts as fuel ignites, a fiery barrier briefly separating him from the Jedi. Under cover of the distraction, Dooku summons the Force and leaps away deeper into the hangar, toward his waiting solar sailor. Luke gently eases the crane aside, setting it down without causing an explosion, and immediately extinguishes the flames with a sweep of his hand, the Force snuffing out the fire. But Dooku has gained precious seconds. By the time the 3 Jedi dart around the smoking wreckage and reach the back of the hangar, they see Dooku's solar sailor rising up through an opening in the ceiling, its sail unfurling and catching the solar winds in the Geonosian sky. "No!" "He's getting away," Anakin shouts, frustrated. Anakin spots a nearby speeder bike, Dooku's abandoned speeder. Without hesitation, he runs to it, vaulting onto the seat. "Anakin, wait!" Obi-Wan calls out. "We can't let him escape, Master," Anakin responds, igniting the speeder with determination in his voice. Luke places a calming hand on Obi-Wan's shoulder. "Let him go, Obi-Wan." Obi-Wan looks conflicted. In the original timeline, Luke remembers, this was where Anakin rushed ahead and faced Dooku alone, resulting in grievous injury. Luke is determined to prevent that outcome. Obi-Wan hesitates, then nods. "Right. We stay together." Obi-Wan leaps onto the speeder behind Anakin, and to Obi-Wan's surprise, Luke jumps on as well, standing on a side rail, one hand holding the back of the seat. The speeder's engine screams as Anakin guns it, hurtling out of the hangar and into the open air in pursuit of Dooku's fleeing ship. The speeder zips out of the cave, chasing the glint of Dooku's solar sailor, which is accelerating upward. Above, the sky is streaked with reds and oranges of Geonosis' setting sun. Anakin pushes the speeder to its limits. The craft skims over the rocky terrain, racing to keep Dooku's ship in sight. "Anakin, carefully. We can't catch a starship with this," Obi-Wan shouts over the wind. "We have to try," Anakin responds, teeth gritted. Luke narrows his eyes, gauging the distance to Dooku's ship. "Closer. Get us just a bit closer." The solar sailor is now several hundred meters above and ahead of them, heading towards the upper atmosphere. Soon it will be out of reach. Luke knows this is a critical shatter point. If Dooku escapes now, the war will grind on, and Palpatine's plans will continue unabated. He reaches out with the Force, focusing intensely on the fleeing Count. Luke feels Dooku's presence, the dark side swirling around him. In a last-ditch effort, Luke raises his hand and closes his eyes, pouring his concentration into one focused act of the Force. He feels for a shatter point, the weakness in the solar sailor's design, the critical component that can be broken. There, he senses the delicate array that deploys the solar sail, a necessary component for the ship's swift escape. Luke makes a crushing motion in the air as if gripping something far away. High above, an invisible force clamps down on the solar sailor. The extended sail's supporting mast suddenly buckles as if a giant hand squeezed it. With a shudder, the solar sail collapses, tearing partly free from the ship. The craft tilts, wobbling as it loses its acceleration. In the ship's cockpit, Dooku looks alarmed. What? Smoke trails from Dooku's ship as it struggles to gain altitude. Damaged, it starts descending toward the rocky plains beyond the next ridge. Anakin lets out a whoop of triumph. You got him. He's going down. Obi-Wan looks back at Luke, astonished. That was... He has no words, simply gratitude and amazement on his face. He won't crash hard enough to kill him. We need to move quickly, Luke says, focused. The speeder accelerates over the ridge. In the distance, they see Dooku's solar sailor make a rough landing skid on the desert floor, kicking up a cloud of dust. Anakin steers the speeder to a halt a safe distance away. The three leap off. Dooku's ship is smoking, a wing crumpled, but there, emerging from the wreck, is Count Dooku. His cloak is tattered and he's limping, but his lightsaber is still in hand, crimson blade alive and defiant. You'll pay for that whoever you are, Dooku says, angry and chest-heaving. Luke, Anakin, and Obi-Wan approach cautiously, sabers out, green, blue, blue. Dooku assumes a fencing stance despite his visible exhaustion. It's over, Dooku. Don't make this any harder, Luke says. I think not, Dooku snarls, with a hint of his noble veneer cracking. With a final effort, Dooku raises his free hand and rips chunks of rock from the ground via the forced shrapnel of stones and debris fly at the trio. Luke and Obi-Wan shield themselves with the Force, pebbles and rocks splattering against an invisible barrier. Anakin bats away a larger chunk with his lightsaber. Dooku springs forward, aiming one desperate, skilled sequence of strikes at Anakin, hoping to eliminate the Padawan quickly. Their blades clash in a flurry, Dooku's refined form against Anakin's raw power. Anakin has improved since their duel minutes ago, fueled by adrenaline, and Luke's presence bolstering him. But Dooku is still a master duelist. However, Dooku has lost the advantage of energy. Obi-Wan and Luke move in sync to cover Anakin. Obi-Wan parries Dooku's thrust toward Anakin's torso, and Luke steps in with a precise strike that forces Dooku to leap back or lose an arm. Now Dooku is encircled, Anakin on his left, Obi-Wan to his right, Luke directly in front. This is just the beginning. The war has... Dooku breathes hard, sweat dripping. Luke's voice is edged with both compassion and authority. Ended for you. Luke feints high. Dooku moves to parry, but it's a distraction. In a blindingly fast maneuver, Luke switches grip and slices low. Dooku tries to adjust, but Anakin strikes at the same time from the opposite side. Dooku blocks Anakin's blade, leaving his other side exposed. Obi-Wan Force pulls Dooku's saber arm just an inch forward, a subtle tug that disrupts the Count's balance. Luke's green blade comes up and neatly severs Dooku's right hand at the wrist. Dooku's lightsaber hilt, along with his hand, drops to the dirt. The red blade extinguishes as it leaves his grip. The Count gasps, stunned. Before he can even cry out, Anakin rushes forward and with a Force-augmented roundhouse kick, knocks Dooku to the ground. The once proud Sith Lord falls to his knees, clutching the smoking stump where his hand was. Obi-Wan immediately extends his blade at Dooku's throat. Luke stands calm but ready, lightsaber pointed down but his eyes on Dooku. Anakin raises his saber high, anger still burning in his expression. Do it! We should finish him, Anakin says, breathing fast, anger not yet spent. For a moment, the scene mirrors an event that hasn't happened yet. Years later on the invisible hand, another Dooku at Anakin's mercy. But this time, Luke is here, and Anakin hasn't fallen to darkness. Luke steps toward Anakin, gently placing a hand on Anakin's arm to lower his saber. Anakin, no. Remember, we're Jedi. Luke's voice is soft but firm. Anakin's blade hovers above Dooku, indecision and rage battling in his eyes. Dooku looks up in pain and fear, resigned to his fate. Anakin, he's defeated, he stands trial, nothing more, Obi-Wan cautions. Anakin closes his eyes, trembling with adrenaline and fury, but Luke's presence beside him radiates calm. After a tense second, Anakin exhales and deactivates his lightsaber. Dooku slumps back, wounded and glowering silently. Your mercy is admirable, Dooku says, wincing, forcing a bitter smile. His tone makes it sound like both an insult and a genuine, begrudging respect at the same time. The difference between Jedi and Sith, Count, as you well know, Luke responds, clipping his lightsaber to his belt. Obi-Wan quickly retrieves Dooku's fallen lightsaber and clips it to his own belt. Anakin pulls a pair of binders from the speeder's saddlebag and steps behind Dooku, clamping them over Dooku's arms, securing the Sith Lord. Dooku, kneeling and defeated, looks up at Luke with a mix of contempt and curiosity. Skywalker, I have to admit, I never anticipated the Jedi had someone like you. In all my calculations, he coughs. You were an unknown. Luke meets Dooku's gaze evenly. There's a lot you didn't anticipate. Evidently, Dooku says with a weak chuckle. For a split second, Luke senses something from Dooku through the Force, a flash of impression, surprise, frustration, and behind it all, a strange flicker of relief. Perhaps Dooku, disillusioned by Sidious, is silently glad to see a wrench thrown into the Sith's perfect plan. But the thought vanishes as Dooku winces from his wound. In the distance, another gunship is approaching rapidly, drawn by the chase. The Late sets down nearby, and from it emerge several clone troopers and 2 Jedi, Master Mace Windu and Master Kit Fisto, having tracked the pursuit once the main battle subsided. They run toward the scene to find Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Luke standing over the defeated Count Dooku. Mace Windu's eyes widen at the sight of Dooku kneeling, one hand missing, and under guard. You captured him? Mace asks, almost in disbelief. Obi-Wan smiles wearily. It appears so. Kit Fisto grins broadly, tentacles perking. Well done. I never thought I'd see the day a Sith Lord surrendered. I didn't exactly have a choice. Dooku sneers up at Mace. Mace regards Dooku with a mix of triumph and sadness. Dooku was once a Jedi Master and friend. You'll be given a fair trial, Dooku. The Senate will decide your fate, and the Jedi will ensure you can't harm anyone else. Spare me your platitudes, Master Windu. I know how this will end, Dooku says with a shadow of his old pride. Mace motions, and the clone troopers cautiously move in, taking custody of Dooku. 2 troopers support Dooku under his arms, lifting him to his feet, while another places power cuffs around his forearms to neutralize force use. Dooku is led to the gunship, his head held high despite the capture, trying to maintain some dignity. As this happens, Mace turns to Luke, eyes narrowed slightly but respectful. I have to admit, without you, this would have gone very differently. You not only saved many of us in the arena, he glances at Dooku being loaded into the gunship. You may have just ended this war before it truly began. Luke nods modestly. I did what I thought was necessary, Master Windu. Mace studies Luke carefully. Skywalker, you said? That name carries weight with it. His tone implies questions unspoken. Who is this man? Why is he so powerful? And how does he share a name with Anakin? Anakin walks up beside Luke, a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration on his face. Master Windu, you should have seen him. He was incredible. He looks at Luke almost like an awestruck younger brother might. He saved Master Obi-Wan and me at least twice. Obi-Wan smiles at Luke appreciatively. At least twice, probably more. The Council's questions Yoda finally arrives on the scene, having used a hover platform to catch up. He approaches slowly, observing the aftermath. Count Dooku in binders aboard a gunship, surrounded by clones. Jedi Masters gathered around Luke. Ended, this battle has. Victory for the Jedi, and much unexpected, I sense. Mace steps away to consult with Yoda, giving a quick rundown of events in a low tone. Kit Fisto joins them, still smiling in disbelief at their fortune. Luke finds himself momentarily apart with Obi-Wan and Anakin. The adrenaline of battle is fading, and the reality of what has been accomplished and what his presence has changed begins to set in for him. He has saved his father from a terrible defeat, and captured a key figure that in his time had not been captured alive. The future is already veering off the path he knew. Anakin claps Luke on the back, friendly and warm. I don't know where you came from, Luke, but I'm sure glad you did. Luke smiles at Anakin, the emotion of seeing his father alive and praising him bittersweet. I'm glad I got here in time. Obi-Wan regards him carefully. You fight like a Jedi Master, Luke. And you saved us all, including Anakin and me. I must say, I have many questions. Anakin grins. Me too. Like, how did you do all of that? Stopping lightning with your bare hand, holding up a crane like it was nothing, tearing down a starship from the sky. The Force is a powerful ally. I've had good teachers. Luke interrupts gently. Luke glances over at Yoda, who is deep in conversation with Mace. Obi-Wan catches the glance and furrows his brow. Good teachers. Obi-Wan follows Luke's gaze briefly to Yoda and then back. And where exactly did you train, if I might ask? I don't recall ever hearing of a Jedi named Luke Skywalker. Luke hesitates. This is the delicate part. He knew that once the immediate crisis was over, the Jedi would demand answers. He had planned not to reveal too much too soon. If he outright tells them he is Anakin's son from the future, it could be dangerously disruptive and hard to believe. Yet he has already dropped the Skywalker name and the resemblance is clear. I was trained in the Outer Rim by a very wise master who isn't part of the Order as you know it. Luke chooses his words carefully. Obi-Wan exchanges a look with Anakin, then back to Luke. A Jedi outside the Order? Not part of the Order. But how? Anakin begins, puzzled. Luke lifts a hand to gently forestall the cascade of questions. I promise I will explain everything. But perhaps not here, not now. There are wounded to care for and a war to prevent from escalating. As if on cue, clone troopers approach to report to Obi-Wan. General Kenobi, the Separatist ground forces are surrendering or in full retreat now that their leadership is captured or scattered. We have transports ready to take the prisoners. Obi-Wan nods to the trooper. Understood. Mace, Yoda, and the others finish their discussion and walk back toward the group. Yoda addresses everyone present. Much to discuss we have. A dangerous path we still walk, but today saved many lives were. He turns to Luke and inclines his head deeply. Our thanks you have, Master Skywalker. There's a collective slight inhale among the Jedi as Yoda addresses Luke as Master. It's a title of respect not lightly given. Luke bows to Yoda. I'm honored, Master Yoda. Mace becomes businesslike once more. We'll need to return to Coruscant immediately. With Dooku captured, the Senate will want to interrogate him and verify what Obi-Wan reported, that the Separatists are in league with the Sith. Discover we must the identity of this Darth Sidious Dooku spoke of, Yoda adds. At the mention of Sidious, Luke's face tightens just a fraction. He knows exactly who Sidious is. Palpatine's face looms in his memory, the cackling Emperor. Palpatine will surely be scrambling now. Dooku captured throws a wrench in his schemes. Master Yoda, Master Windu, if I may, Count Dooku tried to recruit Master Kenobi by telling him that a Sith Lord named Darth Sidious was controlling the Senate. That was not a lie. Luke speaks firmly. Mace frowns. Yes, Obi-Wan relayed that earlier. We've long suspected the Senate has been influenced by the dark side, but we could never confirm. You need to investigate the office of the Supreme Chancellor, Luke interrupts. The surrounding Jedi react with surprise. Yoda lifts his ears, curious and concerned. The Chancellor? Palpatine? Obi-Wan speaks quietly to Yoda and Mace. Masters, I sensed Dooku was telling the truth on Geonosis. If what Luke is implying, Anakin protests instinctively. Chancellor Palpatine? No, he's a friend, and he supported the Jedi. He's not a... He trails off, confused and disturbed by the idea. Luke speaks softly to Anakin. Sometimes those who seem our friends can be our greatest enemies. Then louder, to all. I know it's hard to believe, but the dark side has clouded the Jedi's vision. Hasn't Master Yoda said as much? How else could a Sith scheme like this unfold right under the Senate's nose? Mace regards Luke with intense scrutiny. You speak as if you have knowledge of this Sidious, Luke. Luke realizes he's treading on thin ice. He's basically outing Palpatine here and now. Is it too much? Too fast? But with Dooku in custody, the truth might surface anyway. Dooku could reveal Sidious's identity under interrogation or trial, though Sidious will surely attempt to silence Dooku before that happens. However, Luke's prime directive is to not let Palpatine have any more advantage than he already has. The element of surprise is on the Jedi's side now, so Luke decides to take the leap. Masters, I believe that Darth Sidious is in fact Chancellor Palpatine. Luke takes a breath. A heavy silence follows. The clone troopers nearby pretend not to listen, but one can imagine their surprise as well. Among the Jedi, Mace's hand instinctively tightens around his lightsaber hilt. Kit Fisto's smile fades, replaced by shock. Obi-Wan looks utterly stunned, recalling his interactions with the Chancellor with new suspicion. Anakin's face drains of color as he shakes his head. That can't be true, Anakin says, almost a whisper. Mace holds up a hand to quell the reactions. That is a grave accusation, Luke Skywalker. The gravest possible. On what basis do you claim this? Clouded the dark side is, if proof you have, reveal you should, Yoda says. Luke steels himself. How to explain without revealing time travel and his personal connection? He opts for partial truth. I have knowledge from outside this time and place. Visions, if you will. I know it sounds unbelievable, but consider what has happened today that you did not foresee. He gestures towards the gunship where Dooku is held. The dark side clouds everything, but I can pierce that cloud. Trust me when I say that Chancellor Palpatine has been manipulating the Senate and the war from the beginning. He is Darth Sidious, the Sith Master, who turned Dooku to the dark side. Plo Koon steps forward. He has been quietly observing, thus far. The Council will discuss this in private. But Luke, you have done so much and proven yourself. If you speak truth, the Jedi must be extra vigilant. Mace nods slowly, still looking conflicted. Agreed. We will verify the truth of these claims. If Palpatine is a Sith, he's managed to deceive us all for a long time. Yoda speaks sadly. Blind we have been, if true this is. But hasty action we must avoid, until sure we are. Mace adds, ever cautious. We can't just walk into the Senate and accuse the Supreme Chancellor of treason without irrefutable proof. That could throw the Republic into chaos. But we will investigate. Obi-Wan places a hand on Anakin's shoulder, as Anakin is still trying to process the accusation. Anakin, perhaps you should help escort Dooku back to Coruscant. That will give you some time to absorb this information. Anakin frowns, clearly upset at the mere suggestion that his mentor Palpatine is evil. Yes, Master. Luke can sense the turmoil in Anakin. Anakin idolizes Palpatine as a friend and advisor. This revelation, even unproven, shakes him. Luke knows he must handle this carefully. Turning Anakin against Palpatine is crucial, but if done too forcefully or without evidence, Anakin's confusion could turn to denial or resentment. Luke decides a gentler approach is needed later, in private, to help Anakin see the truth. Anakin, I understand this is a lot. Palpatine has been a good friend to you, Luke sighs, and to me, in my own way. But just remember how the dark side can mask itself. We'll find the proof. Anakin meets Luke's eyes, searchingly. You seem so certain. It's as if you know him. In a way I do, Luke responds softly. Before more can be said, Yoda taps his gimmer stick on the ground, drawing attention. To Coruscant, we must return. Much to do there is. Healing for the wounded, and a galaxy to inform of today's events. He looks at Luke. And to the Council our new friend will come, answers we still require. Yes. Luke, you'll accompany us back to Coruscant. We need to properly debrief you, and perhaps you can assist in the interrogation of Count Dooku, Mace says. Luke bows. Of course, Master Windu. I'm at your service. As everyone begins to move to the gunships, clones securing the area, Jedi preparing to depart, Luke stands for a moment, looking at the horizon of Geonosis. The twin suns are low now, casting long shadows over the battlefield. The first battle of the Clone Wars is ending not in tragedy and chaos as it once did in his memory, but in a surprising victory and a captured Sith Lord. Luke knows this is just the beginning. Palpatine will not sit idle. He will act swiftly and ruthlessly to regain control of the board. But now the Jedi have a fighting chance. Now he is here to guide them. Anakin steps up next to Luke, following his gaze to the horizon. Hey, Anakin begins. Luke turns to him. I just wanted to say, if you ever need anything. I mean, you've got my support. What you did today, it means a lot. You saved Obi-Wan, and you saved me. He offers a slight, sincere smile. You're a hero. Luke smiles back, placing a hand on Anakin's shoulder. I'm just trying to do the right thing, and I had some help. The two Skywalkers, father and son, stand together as allies. Luke feels a swell of hope and determination. He has done what he came to do, disrupt the darkness that was to come. But the battle for the future of the galaxy has only begun, and Luke is determined to see it through. The Jedi Temple. The setting sun outside the Jedi Temple casts long rays of gold across the circular council chamber. All 12 seats of the High Council are occupied, and in the center of the room stands Luke Skywalker. Despite the honor of standing before the council, Luke remains calm and composed, hands folded within his robe. Around him, Masters Yoda, Mace Windu, Plo Koon, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Shak Ti, and others observe him keenly. Obi-Wan stands off to the side, having vouched for Luke's actions. Anakin is present as well, at Yoda's invitation, given his connection to the discussion. Dooku has been delivered to a secure holding cell in the Republic Judiciary Central Detention Center. The galaxy buzzes with the news. Count Dooku captured. The Separatist leader awaiting trial. The Senate is in special session debating how to proceed. Meanwhile, the Jedi Council focuses on the mysterious powerful Jedi who calls himself Luke Skywalker. Mace leans forward, hands steepled. We've reviewed the accounts of Geonosis and the capture of Count Dooku. Master Kenobi and Skywalker, he gestures to Anakin, have spoken at length of your valor. But now, Luke, we must discuss the matter of who you are and how you came to be on Geonosis at that crucial moment. Told us you have, some. More, we must know. Know of the future you claim to do? Yoda asks. Luke nods slowly. He had spent the journey back to Coruscant considering how to handle this interrogation. He knows full honesty might be too fantastical, but these are wise Jedi. Some truth is necessary to earn trust. Masters, I am indeed not of this time. The Force has sent me here from the future. A future that was filled with great darkness. I came back to change that destiny. Luke chooses his words carefully. Shak Ti's eyes widen. Time travel through the Force? That's thought to be impossible, or at least unrecorded in our archives. The Force works in mysterious ways, but forgive us if we find this difficult to accept, Ki-Adi-Mundi says. Mace scrutinizes Luke's face. And yet, your knowledge of Sidious and your incredible skills suggest something far outside the norm. If you truly are from the future, then you must understand the delicacy of altering events. I do. In my time, Masters, the Jedi Order was destroyed. Luke's voice is earnest. A ripple of shock passes through the council. Destroyed? Plo Koon asks. What? How? Anakin blinks, unsettled. Luke's voice is sorrowful and soft. By the Sith, Darth Sidious orchestrated a plan that led to the fall of the Republic and the near extermination of the Jedi. My presence here is to prevent that. The chamber falls silent. Masters glance at one another. Anakin looks especially rattled. Yoda closes his eyes in contemplation. After a long moment he speaks. Always in motion, the future is. Hard to see. Yet, he opens his eyes, fixing Luke with a thoughtful look. Believe you, I do. The dark side clouds all, but sense truth I can, in your words. Mace exhales slowly. If what you say is true, then we owe you a great debt already. But it also means the threat we face is even more dire than we knew. The capture of Dooku may be only a temporary victory. Sidious will not give up. He will attempt other means to destroy the Jedi and seize power. I suspect he will try to silence Count Dooku before he can talk, Luke says. Obi-Wan steps forward. Master Windu, I recommend we keep Count Dooku in secure Jedi custody, rather than handing him over solely to the Senate authorities. If Sidious has agents, Mace nods. Agreed. Dooku will remain under guard by Jedi as well as Senate guards. We will guard his mind and body. Anakin steps forward, conflicted. The Chancellor has been a mentor and friend to me. If he's truly Sidious, I want to confront him. Ask him why he'd do this. Mace is firm. No, Anakin. He's extremely powerful and cunning. Confronting him head-on, especially alone, would be unwise and possibly perilous. Luke places a hand on Anakin's shoulder. We'll handle him together, when the time is right. For now, Anakin, just be careful around him. He may sense that you know more now. Try to act normal. Anakin nods, swallowing hard. Understood. As the council continues to discuss plans, a sudden disturbance is felt through the Force. Luke stiffens, and so does Yoda. Yoda's eyes narrow. "Feel that, do you?" "Danger at the detention center," Luke says, concentrating. Mace stands abruptly. "Dooku." At that moment, a temple guardian rushes into the chamber, bowing hastily. "Masters, an alarm has been raised at the detention center holding Count Dooku. There's been an attack. Mace is decisive. Luke, Obi-Wan, Anakin, with me. Master Yoda, please coordinate additional support and have a medical team on standby. Go, you must. Save Dooku if possible. Discover who is behind this, you will," Yoda says. Luke, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Mace hurry out of the council chamber, followed by a pair of temple guardians. They sprint through the halls of the temple and leap into a waiting gunship on the landing platform. As the gunship soars towards the detention center in the galactic city, the orange of dusk has given way to the neon lights of Coruscant's night. The prison break. Sparks fly and alarms blare. The corridor leading to Dooku's cell is littered with the bodies of Senate Guard troopers and one Jedi Knight, fallen in defense. At the end of the hall, the thick durasteel door of Dooku's cell stands ajar, blown open by explosives. Within the dim cell, Count Dooku lies on the floor, stunned and bound, but alive. Towering over him is Asajj Ventress, her twin red lightsabers ignited and crossed in front of her, as she faces off against two remaining Jedi Temple guards who are desperately holding her at bay. Ventress's tattooed face is twisted in determination. She had launched a surprise raid with a small team of commando droids, sacrificing them in a decoy explosion, while she slipped inside to eliminate Dooku's guards and free her former master at her secret Master Sidious's command. Though whether to save Dooku or silence him, even she isn't entirely sure. Her allegiance is divided, her emotions turbulent at seeing her betrayed master captured. "You will not take the count," one temple guard grunts as he parries Ventress's strike with his yellow double blade. "Out of my way, Jedi pawn," Ventress snarls. She thrusts out her hand, slamming one guard against the wall with the force, rendering him unconscious. The other guard lunges, but Ventress dances aside and kicks his knee, dropping him, then slashes his pike in half. She force pushes him into the cell's wall, knocking him out as well. Dooku, regaining consciousness from where he was stunned during the breach, looks up at Ventress. His expression is a mix of surprise and suspicion, with a glimmer of relief at seeing a familiar face. "Asajj, you came for me?" Dooku asks weakly. Ventress hesitates, saber still lit. "Orders from Sidious. Either you escape, or," she leaves the second option unsaid, "or die." Before anything else can transpire, Mace and the others arrive, sprinting down the corridor. Mace's purple blade and Obi-Wan's blue blade ignite in unison. Anakin's lightsaber flares to life, and Luke ignites his green one, leading the charge. Ventress turns to face the oncoming Jedi reinforcements, eyes narrowing. 4 Jedi, including 2 of the most renowned masters and the 2 Skywalkers. She calculates her chances. Not good. Well. Skywalkers, Kenobi, Windu, this party's gotten crowded. Ventress smirks to hide her concern. "Surrender, Ventress. You cannot win this fight," Mace says. Ventress laughs harshly. "Win? I don't need to win. I just need to complete my mission." With that, she suddenly lunges towards Dooku, who is still bound on the ground. One of her lightsabers raises to strike at her former master, intending to kill him rather than let him remain a Republic captive. But Luke is faster. In a blink, he uses the Force to yank Dooku's body across the floor towards the far corner of the cell, out of Ventress's immediate reach. At the same time, Anakin darts forward, meeting Ventress's downward strike with his own blade. "You're not killing anyone today," Anakin says angrily. Anakin pushes Ventress back with a flurry of heavy blows. Ventress, deadly but outmatched by Anakin's raw power, gives ground, retreating out of the small cell into the corridor to gain room. Obi-Wan moves into the cell to guard Dooku, standing between the Count and any potential harm, saber at the ready. Mace and Luke flank Ventress in the corridor. She's now cornered, Mace to her left, Luke to her right, Anakin advancing from the front. 3-on-1. Hardly a fair fight. "For you," Ventress says, baring her teeth. She leaps, a sudden acrobatic flip, aiming to vault over Luke's head and break for an exit. But Luke anticipates her move. He reaches up with the Force mid-air, catches her by the ankle with an invisible grip, and slams her back down to the ground. Ventress hits the floor with a cry of pain, one lightsaber flying from her grasp. Mace springs forward, stomping down on the fallen lightsaber and sliding it away. Ventress snarls and swings her remaining blade at Luke's legs from the floor. Luke casually sidesteps and with a precise thrust of his hand, disarms her using the Force, her second lightsaber ripping out of her grip and deactivating as it flies into his outstretched hand. Before Ventress can react, Anakin is on her, pinning her down with his weight across her shoulders. "It's over, Ventress," Anakin says, breathing hard, triumphant. Ventress writhes but finds herself weaponless and restrained by Anakin's strength. Mace levels his purple blade mere inches from her throat as additional temple guards arrive down the hall, weapons drawn. Realizing her predicament, Ventress goes still, though her eyes burn with hatred. "Then, do it. Kill me, Jedi," Ventress says coldly. "We don't do that to unarmed prisoners," Mace responds grimly. Anakin looks as if he might protest, given Ventress's history of murder and cruelty, but Luke steps over and gently touches his father's arm. "She'll face justice, Anakin, not vengeance." Luke's voice is soft but firm. Anakin meets Luke's eyes, recalling how Luke guided him moments ago in not executing Dooku. Slowly he nods and eases off Ventress, though he keeps a tight grip on her arm, as two temple guards come forward with Force-suppressing binders. They clasp them onto Ventress's wrists, and Mace extinguishes his lightsaber. Obi-Wan emerges from the cell with Dooku's hovering stretcher. The Count is bound and being levitated by Obi-Wan's force lift. Dooku is conscious and observing everything quietly, perhaps even a bit stunned to see his former apprentice come to either rescue or kill him, and now captured as well. "Count Dooku is secure. He appears relieved," Obi-Wan says. Dooku indeed lies back on the stretcher, closing his eyes in defeat, but oddly serene, as if accepting that fate has turned in an unexpected direction. Ventress shoots Dooku a glare full of mixed emotions, betrayal, hurt, longing for approval that will never come. Dooku avoids her gaze. "Coward, you would have done the same to me," Ventress spits out. "Likely so," Dooku says softly, without meeting her eyes. Mace steps between them. "Take them to separate secure cells, maximum security and double the guards. We will not underestimate our enemies again." "Yes, Master Windu," a temple guard responds. As Ventress is hauled up, she looks at the assembled Jedi with pure malice. "You think this changes anything? Sidious will still win. You have no idea the power he holds." Luke regards her calmly. "We'll see. The future is not what it used to be." Ventress's brow furrows at that cryptic remark as she is led away. Dooku's stretcher is likewise escorted by multiple guards with Obi-Wan and Mace accompanying them, leaving Anakin and Luke momentarily in the corridor. Anakin exhales, adrenaline fading. "That was close. If we'd arrived moments later." Luke nods. "Sidious nearly had Dooku silenced, but now we have not only Dooku, but one of Sidious's top agents in custody too. Ventress, she might know Sidious's identity as well," Anakin says. Obi-Wan rejoins them after handing Dooku over to medics. "Unlikely. From what I know, Dooku never trusted Ventress with the bigger picture. She might not know Sidious as Palpatine." Mace rejoins them after issuing orders to secure Ventress. "We will interrogate them both. Perhaps between Dooku and Ventress we can extract enough information to publicly expose Sidious. We must be cautious. If word of Ventress's capture reaches Sidious, he may become desperate," Obi-Wan says. "He undoubtedly knows his prison break failed by now. He'll be moving to Plan B, whatever that is," Luke says. "What do you suspect?" Mace asks. Luke is grim. "Possibly an open attempt to seize power. He might try to paint the Jedi as traitors, or move militarily to wipe us out. In my time, that was Order 66, using the clone army against the Jedi." Mace's eyes widen. "Is that so? Then we must investigate that at once. If that's true in this timeline too," Obi-Wan speaks up. "Perhaps that explains why one of our soldiers on Felucia, Tup I think, recently had a violent breakdown and killed a Jedi general. It was reported just this morning through official channels. They've sent his body to Kamino for an autopsy." Luke frowns deeply. "That matches events from my memory. We have to act fast. Fives, another clone, will likely discover the chip soon, if he hasn't already. Sidious will try to stop that knowledge from spreading." Mace nods. "Then we split up tasks. Kenobi, take Skywalker." He gestures to Anakin. and head to Kamino to oversee this autopsy and chip investigation personally. Luke and I will coordinate things here and interrogate Dooku and Ventress if possible. Yes, Master. I want to make sure none of our men are forced to do something against their will, Anakin says eagerly. Obi-Wan places a hand on Anakin's shoulder. We'll take the next ship out. May the Force be with us all, Mace says. As they go their separate ways, the Jedi know time is of the essence. Sidious's grand schemes are unraveling quickly, but a cornered beast is at its most dangerous. 6 months later, the Clone Wars rage on. Though the Republic holds the advantage after the initial crippling blow of Count Dooku's capture. Without Dooku's central leadership, separatist forces have become more fragmented. However, a new de facto leader has risen to rally them. The cyborg General Grievous. The war continues, albeit on a somewhat reduced scale, with many systems still locked in conflict. On the planet Christophsis, blaster fire streaks across a war-torn urban boulevard. Republic clone troopers, led by Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Skywalkers, take cover behind burnt-out hover tanks and shimmering blue crystalline debris. Across the way, ranks of battle droids stand behind a formidable separatist shield generator that has pinned the Republic forces down. Anakin, now a Jedi Knight with his Padawan braid removed, crouches with his back to a slab of fallen crystal, speaking urgently into his wristcom. We can't get through this shield. Rex, fall back and regroup at my position. We need another tactic, Captain Rex responds over comm. Understood, General. We're moving back. Blaster fire erupts. Taking heavy fire, though. Next to Anakin, a Togruta teenage girl of about 14 years, Ahsoka Tano, ignites her green lightsaber, a determined look on her face. Master, I can flank the shield generator. If I cut through that building and... Ahsoka begins. Ahsoka, wait, Anakin calls out, concerned. But Ahsoka, headstrong and courageous, has already darted out from cover, sprinting towards a side alley to attempt a flanking maneuver. Her lightsaber hums as she deflects blaster bolts zipping toward her. Anakin moves to follow, but a barrage of laser fire forces him back into cover. He winces, torn between helping his Padawan and holding the line. Suddenly, from above, a swift shadow passes. Luke Skywalker leaps from the top of a nearby crystalline spire, cloaked in his dark robes, green lightsaber blazing. He lands directly in the midst of the droid squad that was suppressing Anakin's team. In a flurry of precise strikes, Luke cuts down half a dozen battle droids before they even register his presence. Pieces of droids scatter across the street. It's General Luke. We're saved, a clone trooper cheers. Luke stands tall amidst the smoking remains of droids and extends both hands outward, eyes closed in concentration. Reaching through the Force, he seizes hold of the massive shield generator device projecting the dome that protects the separatist position. With a mighty effort, Luke crushes it inward. Metal groans and sparks erupt as the generator implodes, then explodes in a shower of blue energy. The protective shield around the enemy flickers and dies. Obi-Wan smiles in relief from behind cover. That's our opening. Troopers, advance. Clones pour forward, blasters firing as the droids scramble without their shield. Anakin dashes out to find Ahsoka, who had paused in awe as she saw the shield collapse and Luke's dramatic arrival. Luke walks calmly forward through the crossfire, using the Force to deflect or absorb stray blaster bolts, clearing a path for the troops behind him. The clones rally with high morale, pushing the separatists back street by street. Ahsoka runs back to Anakin's side. Sky Guy. Master. Did you see that? Who is that guy? Anakin grins, pride in his voice. That's Luke, well, I guess technically he's my friend. And yours too. Ahsoka has heard of the mysterious Jedi Master Luke Skywalker who appeared at Geonosis and now serves on the Council, but meeting him in action is something else. She quickly follows Anakin as they move to rejoin Obi-Wan and Luke at the front. Moments later, the battle for Christophsis winds down, the last droid forces surrender or are eliminated, and Republic ATT walkers stomp through the crystalline boulevards securing the area. Meeting Ahsoka, under a makeshift command canopy near the city center. A hollow map of the region glows. Clone officers report casualty counts, and medics tend to the wounded in the background. Ahsoka stands at attention next to Anakin and Obi-Wan as they debrief with Luke, who deactivates his lightsaber and clips it to his belt. Christophsis is secure. Nicely done, everyone. Obi-Wan smiles at Ahsoka. And good initiative, Ahsoka, though perhaps a bit reckless. Ahsoka looks sheepish. Sorry, Master Kenobi. I just wanted to help. You fought well, Snips. But remember, patience. We work together, Anakin says. Yes, Master. She then turns her big, curious eyes to Luke, who stands a bit apart, surveying the victory with a calm smile. And you, General Skywalker, sir. That was amazing. I mean, Master Skywalker. She fumbles slightly with titles, unsure how to address him. Luke smiles warmly and bows slightly to Ahsoka. Just Luke is fine. And you must be Ahsoka Tano, Anakin's Padawan. Though Master Skywalker mostly calls me Snips, Ahsoka says, grinning. Snips? Luke chuckles softly, casting an amused glance at Anakin. Anakin clears his throat, fondly rolling his eyes. Long story. He only uses it when I get on his nerves, Ahsoka adds. I see. Luke crouches a bit to be on eye level with the shorter Togruta, a kind expression on his face. Ahsoka, I've heard a lot about you. It's a pleasure to finally fight alongside you. The pleasure's mine. You're a legend around the clones. They say you can stop lasers with your hands and call lightning from the sky. Luke smiles modestly. Don't believe every legend you hear. But I do my best. Captain Rex and a couple of clones approach, saluting. General Skywalker? General Skywalker? Rex grins, acknowledging both Anakin and Luke. Christophsis' campaign is wrapped up. We've got Generals Kenobi and Skywalker's gunships prepped for departure. Well done, Captain. The men did a fine job today, Obi-Wan says. Rex speaks with pride to Luke. Honestly, sir, that trick with the shield generator reminded me of Master Yoda in action. We're all mighty glad you're on our side. Luke nods appreciatively. Thank you, Captain. Your troopers fought bravely. Rex heads off to oversee cleanup operations. As the Jedi gather their things to depart, Ahsoka steps up next to Luke, her montrals barely reaching his shoulder. Master Luke? Can I ask your last name, Skywalker? Are you and Master Anakin related or something? Anakin stiffens slightly, curious to hear how Luke handles this question. Luke smiles, having anticipated this many times. It's a common name on Tatooine. We're from the same family a long time ago, you could say. Ahsoka cocks her head, accepting the vague answer. Huh. Well, it's nice that Sky Guy, or Anakin, has someone like you around. He doesn't always listen to me. Hey, Anakin protests. Ahsoka giggles, then turns sincere. But really, Master Luke, I can tell he respects you a lot. Maybe almost like an older brother? Anakin pretends not to listen, but he smiles softly. Luke places a hand on Anakin's shoulder. I am proud of Anakin, of both of you. You're doing great, and I'm here for you anytime you need guidance. Ahsoka beams at the praise. Obi-Wan watches this interaction quietly, noting how naturally Luke provides support and warmth, qualities Anakin sometimes lacks when teaching Ahsoka, being still young and brash himself. It's a positive influence. We should return to Coruscant. The Council will want a report, and we have pressing developments to attend to, Obi-Wan says. Right, Master Yoda is expecting us back to discuss those inhibitor chips, Anakin says. Inhibitor chips, Ahsoka asks. Luke responds as they start walking to the landing zone. We suspect the clones were engineered with a hidden chip that could force them to do terrible things. We're working to remove them. That's awful. Our guys would never turn on us willingly, Ahsoka says, horrified at the idea. They won't have to. We'll make sure of it, Anakin says. They all climb into the gunship. As it takes off, leaving the emerald and azure landscape of Christophsis behind, the mood is tense but resolute. Saving fives. Under the neon glow of Coruscant's endless cityscape, an injured ARC Trooper Fives huddles in the shadows of a maintenance bay in a deserted lower level. He's removed his helmet, sweat and blood matting his hair. His eyes dart around warily. He cradles a data chip in one hand, the proof he's uncovered about the inhibitor chips, and a blaster in the other. Must get to General Skywalker or Kenobi. They'll listen. Fives mutters to himself, wincing from the effects of a stun dosage and a scuffle with shock troopers earlier. Suddenly, the whine of a gunship sounds above. Fives tenses, aiming his blaster upward from his hiding spot behind a stack of crates. The gunship's spotlight sweeps the area. Fives tries to stagger deeper into the bay, but a figure jumps down from the hovering craft, a graceful, cloaked figure who lands a few meters away. It's Luke, who deactivated the spotlight with a wave of his hand to avoid blinding Fives. He holds his empty palms out to show he means no harm. Fives. It's okay. We're here to help. Behind Luke, Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan drop down and approach slowly. Fives blinks in confusion at Luke's unfamiliar face, but he recognizes Anakin and Obi-Wan. General Skywalker? General Kenobi? His blaster wavers, then lowers. I tried to reach you. We know, Fives. We got your messages through Rex. You did well, Anakin says. You're safe now. We're here, Obi-Wan adds. Fives, overcome with relief and exhaustion, nearly collapses. Luke is at his side in an instant, catching the trooper under the arm and easing him to sit against a Durastale support column. Ahsoka kneels and takes Fives' helmet, offering a supportive smile. Hey Fives, it's good to see you. You're gonna be okay. Fives breathes raggedly. General Skywalker, the Chancellor, he's behind it all. The chips made Toop kill Master Tiplar. I have proof. He weakly holds up the data chip clenched in his fist. Anakin takes the data chip gently. We believe you, Fives. And thanks to you, we can stop it. Above, another gunship roars into view, this one marked with the red stripes of the Coruscant Guard. It's Palpatine's shock troopers, likely dispatched to eliminate Fives. We've got company, Obi-Wan warns. Shock troopers? They're not here to rescue him, that's for sure, Luke says grimly. The red-armored troopers rappel down, led by Commander Fox. Fox, under secret orders from Palpatine, raises his blaster pistol, eyes locking onto Fives. By order of the Supreme Chancellor, that clone is to be taken into custody immediately, Commander Fox announces. Anakin steps forward, hand on lightsaber. Stand down, Fox. Fives is under Jedi protection. Fox aims directly at Fives, desperation in his voice. He's a traitor. He attacked the Chancellor. Move aside, generals. Fox's finger tightens on the trigger, but he never gets the shot off. With a lightning-quick gesture, Luke sends a small bolt of yellowish force lightning, electric judgment, straight at Fox's blaster. The weapon sparks and is ripped from Fox's grasp, shocking him lightly. Fox yelps and falls back, disarmed and stunned by the non-lethal jolt. The other shock troopers hesitate in confusion, looking at their commander, then at the Jedi. Luke's voice echoes with calm authority. There's been enough betrayal today. Stand down, soldiers. Conflicted and outnumbered by 4 Jedi, the shock troopers slowly lower their weapons. They may be conditioned to obey Palpatine, but they also have no explicit Order 66 issued, and they respect the Jedi generals in front of them. Obi-Wan swiftly force-pulls their blasters away, and Anakin uses the Force to yank down the gunship's pilot from the cockpit, preventing an escape or further aggression. Commander Fox groans, recovering. You can't do this, the Chancellor. Ahsoka folds her arms. The Chancellor will have to wait. Fives needs medical attention, and we have to show the Council what he found. Fives slumps, the adrenaline fading. Luke hoists him gently. We'll get you help, Fives. Fives' voice cracks with urgency. The Chancellor, he set me up. Tried to kill me. He's behind it all. Fives coughs, then his voice grows weaker. Thank you, generals. He focuses on Luke. Whoever you are, sir. Luke smiles reassuringly. Someone who cares about our clones. As the Jedi take Fives and the inhibitor chip evidence, leaving the disarmed shock troopers bound in the maintenance bay, the scene transitions upward, revealing the distant spires of the Senate building under the night sky. In the highest office, Supreme Chancellor Palpatine stands at his window, hands clasped tightly behind his back. His face is a mask of cold rage as he senses his carefully laid plan crumbling. His golden eyes flicker with malevolence, under the guise of benevolence he still wears in public. Palpatine mutters to himself, voice low and dripping with venom. So, the son of Skywalker thwarts me at every turn. He breathes out slowly, calming into a sinister resolve. But the game is not over. Not yet. The stage is set for the final act. With Dooku and Ventress imprisoned, the clones freed from their hidden compulsion, and Palpatine's deceptions unraveling, the Sith Lord has one last card to play, his own power and the leverage of Anakin's deepest fears. The confrontation. A ferocious thunderstorm rages over Coruscant at midnight. Lightning forks across the sky, illuminating the Senate district in stark white flashes. It is as if the Force itself roils in anticipation of the coming confrontation. In the opulent office of the Supreme Chancellor, Palpatine stands behind his grand desk, seemingly calm. Gone is his grandfatherly facade. In private, his eyes smolder yellow, and his lips curl in a slight sneer. On his desk rests an ornate Sith mask and a lightsaber hilt. Darth Sidious has prepared for battle. The massive doors to the office slide open. Mace Windu leads the way inside, lightsaber already in hand but not yet ignited. Behind him are Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Anakin Skywalker. They walk with purpose, cloaks damp from the rain and wind they faced on the landing pad, expressions set and determined. Palpatine adopts a confused, hurt expression as if surprised by this intrusion. Master Windu? What is the meaning of this? It's quite late for a social call. Mace's voice is hard as Durasteel. Chancellor, we are here to place you under arrest. Arrest? Have you gone mad? On what charges? Obi-Wan speaks firmly. On charges of conspiracy, treason, and the attempted genocide of the Jedi Order. Anakin steps forward, sorrow and anger in his eyes. It's over, Chancellor. We know who you really are. Sidious. Palpatine's eyes flick to Anakin. For a brief moment, disappointment and fury war within them. His meticulously groomed apprentice, now turned against him. But then he smiles, cold and cruel. Palpatine straightens to his full height, his voice deepening, dropping the kindly affectation. So it's come to this. I must say, I'm impressed. I did not foresee so many of you standing here together. His gaze lingers on Luke, especially you. Your schemes are finished, Sidious. Surrender, and you will face justice, Luke says. Palpatine laughs lightly, a dismissive, sinister chuckle. Justice? The Jedi's justice. You truly think you've won? The Separatists crushed, my apprentice in chains, my contingency with the clones foiled. His tone drips sarcasm. Bravo! Mace's jaw clenches. It's over. Don't resist. Palpatine sneers as he lifts the Sith mask and places it over his face. I think not, Master Windu. In a blur, Palpatine grabs the mask, which covers the upper half of his face like a dark visage of the Sith, and snatches up his hidden lightsaber. With preternatural speed, he vaults over his desk toward the Jedi, red blade igniting mid-leap. Unlimited power, Palpatine roars. Palpatine's sudden ferocity is shocking. But this time, the Jedi are ready. Mace Windu's purple blade snaps upward, intercepting Palpatine's downward strike, a blow that in another timeline killed 3 masters in an instant. Sparks fly as Sith red clashes with Jedi purple. Palpatine's masked face contorts with dark exertion. Luke and Obi-Wan move in sync, flanking Sidious. Luke's emerald blade and Obi-Wan's blue come at Palpatine from left and right, forcing the Sith to break off his assault on Windu and whirl into a defensive flourish. Mace Windu channels his Vapad form, purple blade striking with heavyweight power, keeping Sidious on the back foot. Obi-Wan's Soresu mastery forms an impenetrable defense at the flank, preventing Sidious from breaking away. Anakin's Gemso aggression pounds at Sidious's other side, each heavy blow driving the Sith Lord further back. And Luke fights with fluid grace and uncanny speed, his form an unpredictable blend that Sidious has never seen, each strike precise and filled with delight. Palpatine, however, is a whirlwind of deadly skill and dark-side energy. He parries and riposts with astonishing speed, his face behind the mask registering rage and a hint of concern. 4-on-1, even for him, is no small challenge, especially when one is the prophesied chosen one, and another an anomaly beyond his foresight. I am the Senate, Palpatine snarls through the mask's vocabulator. Not anymore, Obi-Wan responds. Palpatine unleashes a sudden blast of Force lightning from his free hand towards Obi-Wan and Anakin, but Luke anticipated this. He steps in front of his family, catching the lightning on his green blade and absorbing the overflow with his other hand, much as Yoda once did. Electricity dances around Luke's fingers but does not harm him. He pushes forward, deflecting the lightning aside where it scorches the ceiling and walls, leaving molten streaks. Your reign ends here, Sidious. Luke's voice is strong. Palpatine hisses and leaps backward with incredible agility, flipping onto the ledge of the large window behind his desk, the transperistyle now spiderwebbed with cracks from stray lightning. There, he raises a hand and rips the entire window apart with the Force, sending shards of glass and a howling gust of wind into the office. Obi-Wan and Mace brace themselves as the storm's wind and rain lash into the room. Palpatine extends both hands and force pulls two of his ornate Senate chamber pods off their mountings, hurling them at the Jedi. Anakin and Obi-Wan slice one in half mid-air, diving aside as its halves crash to the floor. Luke and Mace, with combined force pushes, deflect the other to smash against the wall. Yoda suddenly steps into the doorway of the office, having arrived on a platform lift behind the Jedi. Rain drips off his hooded cloak as he takes in the chaotic scene. The dark side ending it is. Yoda raises his voice over the storm. Yoda joins the circle around Palpatine, now tipping the scales further. Palpatine, seeing Yoda, snarls in genuine worry. "This cannot be. You all will die." With a feral scream, Sidious channels all his fury. He spins his lightsaber in a vicious arc toward Anakin, trying to strike at the person he perceives as the weakest link due to Anakin's emotional attachments. At the same time, he sends another torrent of force lightning with his other hand toward the group of masters. Anakin meets Palpatine's saber strike head-on, blade to blade. His prosthetic hand locks with Palpatine's gloved one as they struggle in a deadly clinch, blue saber against red. Palpatine's masked visage comes within inches of Anakin's, yellow eyes glaring through the slits. Palpatine's tone becomes tempting, insidious. "You could have ruled by my side, Skywalker. Think, Padme's life is still in peril, I have seen it. Only I have the power to save her." Anakin's eyes widen at Padme's name. A sliver of fear runs through him. Palpatine senses this and presses on, voice silken despite the strain. Palpatine whispers intensely, "Give in, my boy. Embrace the dark side. It is the only way to cheat death. I love democracy, and I love your passion. Use it. Save her." For a moment, Anakin's resolve wavers. The lingering nightmare of Padme dying in childbirth still haunts him, even though he's tried to trust in Luke's assurances and the new Jedi acceptance of attachments. The dark side in Palpatine's words tugs at that primal fear. Luke sees Anakin's guard falter ever so slightly, the saber lock inching toward Anakin's throat. "Father, trust yourself." "Trust me," Luke calls out urgently, heartfelt. The word father snaps Anakin out of the dark trance. He remembers Luke's face full of compassion on the Death Star in another future, remembers, through Luke's stories, the agony of what he became as Vader. He snarls and pushes back with renewed strength, his blue blade throwing Sidious off balance. "I am trusting you, Luke." Anakin glares at Palpatine. "Your lies won't work anymore, Chancellor." Luke, in that moment, feels an overwhelming surge of pride and love. Father and son stand united, the chain of fear broken. Yoda and Mace simultaneously redirect Palpatine's wave of lightning upward. It explodes against the chandelier, raining sparks. Sidious realizes with cold dread that he is outmatched. Desperate, he gathers the force for one last devastating assault meant to take them all out. He leaps straight up, flipping onto the ledge by the shattered window, the storm wind whipping his black cloak and crackling with lightning around him. There, he raises both hands and begins to summon an enormous storm of forced lightning, drawing even the energy of the natural storm outside into himself. The sky darkens further, thunder booming as an unnatural darkness coalesces around Sidious. The very clouds above swirl directly over the Senate office building. Palpatine's voice booms, distorted by dark power. "If I must fall, I'll take you all with me. Witness the true power of the dark side." A colossal bolt of Darth Sidious's summoned energy erupts downward toward the Jedi. It crackles with dark side potency, brightening the stormy night like a second sun. Enough power to kill everyone in the room and perhaps bring the entire spire crashing down. But Luke is quicker. He thrusts both hands upward, and drawing on the deepest wells of the light side, his love for his father, his friends, and all the beings he's sworn to protect, he forms a barrier, a dome of shimmering golden energy above the Jedi. The lightning crashes onto Luke's barrier with a deafening explosion. The entire building shakes. Floor panels rip up, statues topple, the desk is blown into splinters, and large sections of the durasteel walls crack under the strain. For a moment, it's as if the world is ending in that office. Blinding light, howling wind, and a cacophony of thunder and raw force energy. Within the storm, Yoda adds his strength to Luke's, the tiny master planting his feet and lifting his gimmer stick, face scrunched in focus. Mace and Obi-Wan do the same, raising their arms to reinforce the barrier with their own force energy. Anakin steps beside Luke, pouring his formidable power into the shield as well, adding a faint blue hue to the golden glow. Together, the Jedi hold firm. With a final roar of agony and rage, Sidious exhausts his hatred in one last bolt. The bolt slams down onto the golden shield, and then reverses direction. Luke, eyes burning with determined light, channels the excess energy back toward its source. A lance of combined force power, part blue Sith lightning, part golden Jedi radiance, shoots upward and strikes Palpatine. Sidious's masked face is lit in ghastly blue as the energy surges through him. He drops his lightsaber and his arms flail as he is caught in his own maelstrom. He lets out a terrible scream, unnatural and piercing, a sound of utter defeat and pain. His body is hurled out of the shattered window, tumbling into the raging winds outside, still wreathed in tendrils of wild lightning. For a brief instant, his form is visible, illuminated by the storm as it plummets. Then, with a blinding flash and a distant crash of thunder, Darth Sidious, Palpatine, is no more, consumed by the very darkness he unleashed. The clouds above burst outward with the shockwave, and the thunderstorm begins to dissipate rapidly, the oppressive darkness lifting. Silence falls, save for the patter of rain and occasional rumbles of dying thunder. The Jedi stand panting, hearts pounding with the gravity of what has transpired. The once elegant office is in ruins, windows gone, walls scorched, and the desk a charred wreck. The air smells of ozone and burning upholstery. Anakin steps to the edge of the shattered window, rain slicking his hair to his forehead, and peers out into the night. Far below, through cleared air, he can see the faint glow of fires where Sidious's body impacted a power relay. More importantly, he feels through the Force the sudden lightness, the oppressive shadow that had hung over everything has vanished. He turns back to the group, a smile slowly dawning on his face, a genuine, liberating smile. He's gone. The Sith are gone. Obi-Wan sags with relief, returning the smile. We did it. Mace takes a deep breath, disbelief and triumph mingling. It is a victory I hardly dared hope to see. Yoda closes his eyes, sensing the Force with a serene expression. Ended, the Sith's reign has. Balance in the Force, I feel. Luke finally exhales and lowers his arms. The golden aura around him fades. He looks around at his friends, his family, battered but alive. Ahsoka peeks into the room from the corridor, having stayed back to ensure no more shock troopers interfered. Seeing everyone safe, she breaks into a wide grin and rushes in, nearly tackling Anakin in a hug. Anakin laughs and hugs Ahsoka with one arm. Then he steps over to Luke. For a moment, father and son regard each other amid the wreckage, understanding everything that has led to this moment. Suddenly, Anakin pulls Luke into a tight embrace. Luke, startled only for a heartbeat, embraces his father in return. The others watch, some smiling, Obi-Wan wiping a tear, Ahsoka beaming, some politely looking away, though even Mace seems touched. Anakin's voice is thick with emotion. Thank you, Luke. You saved me. From him. From myself. You saved all of us. Dead. We saved each other, Anakin. Luke responds quietly, tears of joy in his eyes. Yoda uses his hover chair to float to the broken window. He gazes out at the clearing skies. The storm is passing, stars peeking through clouds. The ancient master looks weary but profoundly content. Much to do there remains, but now a moment of peace we can accept. As dawn begins to break on the horizon, the scene transitions from the ruined office, a symbol of the old tyranny shattered, to the skyline of Coruscant, where the first light of morning pushes back the night. A new Jedi Order, 1 week after the fall of Sidious. The Jedi Temple's High Council chamber is filled with sunlight pouring through tall windows, illuminating motes of dust in the air, as if the temple itself is finally breathing freely. The 12 seats of the High Council are filled, but the atmosphere is distinctly different. Relief and cautious optimism replace the previous pall of war. Masters Yoda, Windu, Plo Koon, Shakti, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and others are present. Anakin stands in the center of the chamber, not on trial, but being honored. Beside him stand Padme, with the Council's permission, Ahsoka, and Luke. Mace offers a rare, genuine smile towards Anakin. The war is over. The Jedi Order has survived one of its greatest trials. Knight Skywalker, your actions, alongside Master Luke Skywalker, have brought balance to the Force. The Council acknowledges your exceptional service and... He exchanges a glance with Yoda. We offer you our apologies for not seeing the truth sooner. Anakin bows respectfully. Thank you, Masters. I'm grateful for the Order's trust. I won't fail you. Grew you have, and saved us you helped, Yoda says. Yoda turns his gaze to Padme, who stands gracefully by Anakin's side, her hands over her belly where new life grows. Senator Amidala, Padme, accept our gratitude you must, for aiding Anakin's heart. Padme smiles and dips her head. The honor is mine, Master Yoda. I always believed in Anakin, in all of you. Shakti speaks warmly. The Jedi Code shall be amended to reflect what we have learned. Attachments rooted in love and compassion are a strength. The Council has voted unanimously to allow Jedi the freedom to marry and have families, so long as they cultivate balance and do not give in to fear. Anakin's eyes shine. You have no idea what this means to us, thank you. He gently squeezes Padme's hand, and she beams, tears of joy gathering in her eyes. Plo Koon adds, additionally, the Council has established that all Jedi will now receive training in how to manage strong emotions and attachments constructively rather than suppress them. We have Master Luke to thank for this insight. Luke, who stands humbly to the side in the center, straightens slightly at being addressed. The thanks belongs to my father and to all of you for being willing to grow. The Jedi Order's future is bright because it can change. Mace addresses Luke formally. There remains the matter of your status, Master Luke. By all our laws and traditions, you are a Jedi Master, perhaps Grandmaster by knowledge and ability. If you wish it, we would ask you to remain with us as a guide and teacher in this new era. Luke pauses, looking around at the circle of venerable Jedi faces, and then at Anakin, Padme, and Ahsoka, the family he never expected to have. His heart swells with belonging and purpose. Masters, rebuilding the Jedi Order alongside all of you would be my greatest honor. The Force brought me here for a reason, and I intend to see it through. Obi-Wan grins proudly. The Council will be lucky to have you, my friend. Named you shall be, if agree you do, Master of the Order when my time passes. Yoda taps his cane thoughtfully. Earned it, you have. Luke responds quickly, a bit flustered. Master Yoda, I am deeply honored, but perhaps that can wait. He chuckles lightly. I think Master Yoda plans to be around for quite some time to come. Yoda's ears wiggle with humor. Hope I do that true this is. Gentle laughter circles the room. The mood is joyous and liberating. Mace stands and steps down from his seat, a symbolic gesture of equality and trust. Then it is settled. The Jedi Order enters a new chapter, with Grandmaster Yoda and Master Luke Skywalker guiding us into the future. May the Force be with us all. The Council members bow their heads in unison. May the Force be with us. Anakin cannot stop smiling. He moves to Luke and embraces him before the entire Council, and this time none find it against protocol. Instead, many applaud quietly or smile. Ahsoka hops forward and wraps her arms around both Anakin and Luke in a spontaneous group hug, causing more chuckles from the onlooking masters. Yoda wipes a single joyful tear from his eye and nods sagely. The camera tilts upward toward the temple's vaulted ceiling, bathed in sunlight, the voices of the Council and friends echoing with hope, healing the clones. Over the following months, the galaxy transforms. With Palpatine dead and Dooku in custody, the separatist movement collapses. The droid armies, deprived of central control, shut down via emergency signals transmitted by Republic forces. Worlds that had seceded begin negotiations to rejoin the Republic. But the Jedi's most urgent mission is saving the clone army from their hidden programming. In medical facilities across Coruscant, Camino, and a dozen other worlds, clone troopers line up voluntarily for surgery. The inhibitor chip removal procedure is quick, less than an hour per soldier, but the scale is staggering. 3 million clones need treatment. Captain Rex oversees operations at the Coruscant facility, working alongside Jedi healers and medical droids. He's already had his chip removed, and now he helps coordinate the effort to save his brothers. Luke visits the facility regularly, walking among the recovering clones, offering words of encouragement. He knows these men. In another timeline, they turned on the Jedi without hesitation. But here, they're being freed. One clone trooper, freshly out of surgery, looks up at Luke with confusion and gratitude. General Skywalker, sir, they said there was something in my head, something that could have made me... He trails off, horrified at the implication. Luke places a hand on the trooper's shoulder. You're free now. That's what matters. The Jedi trust you. We always have. The trooper's eyes well up. Thank you, sir. We won't let you down. Similar scenes play out across the galaxy. Clones weeping with relief as they learn they're no longer slaves to hidden programming. Jedi offering comfort and reassurance. The bond between Jedi and clones, always strong, becomes unbreakable. Within 6 months, every clone in the Grand Army has been freed. Not a single chip remains. The soldiers who fought so bravely for the Republic can now choose their own paths. Some retire, returning to civilian life. Others stay in service, protecting the Republic they fought to preserve. But all of them are finally truly free. Eating on Naboo. Several months after Sidious's defeat, under the shade of a flowering shock tree in Theed Palace's courtyard, Padme Amidala stands facing Anakin Skywalker. She wears a simple yet elegant pale gold gown. Anakin wears formal Jedi robes with a Nabooian sash. They hold hands, gazing into each other's eyes. Around them are close friends and family. Obi-Wan stands at Anakin's side as his best man, smiling with calm pride. Ahsoka is beside Padme as maid of honor, practically bouncing with excitement. Master Yoda officiates, perched atop a small hover dais so that he is at eye level with the couple. Nearby, Masters Mace Windu, Plo Koon, and Shakti observe respectfully. Clones in dress uniforms, including Captain Rex, stand at ease at the periphery, acting as honor guards. Luke stands a little apart, watching with a contented smile and misty eyes. He's clad not in Jedi robes today, but in a Naboo formal tunic of white and gold, Padme insisted. To Luke, this scene is both surreal and deeply fulfilling. His parents openly together and being celebrated, something he used to only dream about. R2-D2 and C-3PO stand nearby recording the event. The Golden Protocol droid gently dabs at what might be an oily tear on his optic sensor. Oh my, this is such a joy. To think, Master Anakin, you and Mistress Padme, married. I feel entirely out of the circuit for not knowing sooner. But I'm so happy for you both, C-3PO says. Anakin chuckles softly. Thank you, 3PO, and sorry for keeping secrets. Oh, I completely understand. I'm just overjoyed that we're all here in one piece. It's my primary programming to worry, you know, C-3PO responds. R2-D2 emits a series of cheerful beeps that sound like astromech laughter. Yoda raises his 3-fingered hand for quiet and begins speaking in his gentle, wisdom-laden voice. Truly wonderful, the mind of love is. His large ears wiggle happily. Joined, 2 souls become today. Promised, they have. To walk the Force together. Anakin and Padme exchange rings. Simple bands forged from Nabooian electrum, provided by Padme's sister Sola, who watches from the small audience. Anakin's prosthetic hand shakes ever so slightly as Padme slides his ring on, and he grins. Yoda continues the brief ceremony, his eyes full of light. By the will of the Force and the authority of Naboo, he smiles broadly, wrinkles and all. Married you are. May your love nurture the galaxy as it has each other. Anakin and Padme lean in and share a tender, loving kiss to the applause and cheers of those gathered. Ahsoka gives an excited whoop. Obi-Wan claps loudly, eyes shining with pride. Mace Windu even allows a small smile, inclining his head in respect for the union. Luke wipes a tear from his cheek. In this moment, seeing his father and mother embrace openly in joy, he feels a profound sense of relief and happiness. The painful future he knew has been averted. A new future is being written right before his eyes. After the ceremony, everyone mingles in the garden as a light breeze rustles through the flowering hedges, and the sound of Naboo music, a gentle violin-like tune, drifts in the air. R2-D2 projects tiny holographic flower petals and confetti into the air at Ahsoka's request, making her laugh as she runs about trying to catch them. The clone honor guards remove their helmets, enjoying refreshments and receiving hugs of gratitude from Padme and Ahsoka. Obi-Wan finds Luke standing near a low garden wall, looking out at the shimmering lake visible beyond the palace grounds. A pair of beautiful shock animals graze in the distance. Obi-Wan approaches, handing Luke a cup of Naboo sweet fruit punch. You should be proud, Luke, Obi-Wan says softly. Luke turns to his old mentor, eyes bright. I am. I keep thinking, if only Master Qui-Gon were here to see this. Obi-Wan smiles gently, placing a hand on Luke's shoulder. Perhaps he is, in the Force. As Obi-Wan mentions Qui-Gon, a gentle breeze stirs the garden. For a fleeting moment, a shimmering blue figure appears beneath the shade of a nearby blossom-laden tree. Qui-Gon Jinn, smiling proudly. Anakin and Obi-Wan, Both catch sight of their old master's spirit out of the corners of their eyes. Qui-Gon lifts a ghostly hand in blessing. I am proud of you, my Padawans. And you too, Luke. You have truly become the beacon of hope we needed. Qui-Gon's spirit says kindly. Anakin's eyes well up at seeing his first mentor. Obi-Wan bows his head in respect and gratitude. Luke senses warmth and approval through the Force. With a peaceful nod, Qui-Gon's spirit fades into the light, returning to the embrace of the Force that surrounds them all. Across the lawn, Anakin and Padme walk hand in hand, Padme resting her head on Anakin's shoulder for a moment. She's visibly pregnant now, and glows with contentment. Anakin spots Luke and Obi-Wan and, with Padme, meanders their way. Padme extends an arm, drawing Luke into an embrace the moment he's within reach. He returns it, eyes closing as he basks in the motherly affection he had only known for moments at his birth in his original timeline. We haven't had a chance to thank you properly, Luke, not just for saving the Republic, but for bringing our family together. Anakin places a hand on Luke's back. You gave me the courage to be the man I should have been all along. Because of you, my children will be born into a galaxy of peace, he chuckles. And with their big brother watching over them. Luke laughs softly. Technically, I'm the younger, but I suppose time travel makes it complicated. Padme jokes with a twinkle in her eye. Uncle Luke? Then? Luke is fine. He turns serious, voice full of gratitude. I had the chance to know both of you only through stories and brief moments in my old life. To stand here now with you, it's more than I ever hoped for. Padme cups Luke's cheek affectionately, then places a gentle kiss on his forehead. Nearby, Ahsoka runs over, dragging Captain Rex by the hand. Rex has swapped armor for a formal Republic officer's uniform, and Ahsoka has to pry at his stiff military bearing to get him to join the group. Come on, Rex. Don't be such a statue. This is a party. Rex responds good-naturedly. I'm off duty, Commander Tano, but old habits die hard. Well, break 'em. Master Yoda might even dance if we ask nicely. Anakin laughs. I'd pay to see that. Ahsoka pulls Rex into an impromptu dance on the grass, to which he eventually relents, doing a modest shuffle while she twirls around him. The sight draws laughs from Anakin and Padme. In the background, Gungan musicians strike up a livelier tune, and several clones and Nabooans join in a simple folk dance. Even Mace Windu is seen conversing amiably with Bail Organa and Mon Mothma, who came to offer congratulations. As the sun dips lower, casting long golden rays across the lake, the entire gathering comes together for a group holo photo. In the image, Anakin stands with one arm around Padme and the other around Ahsoka, grinning wider than ever. Padme rests a hand on her belly and leans into Anakin contentedly. Luke stands beside Padme, one hand on her shoulder. Obi-Wan and Yoda stand proudly at the front. Mace stands a bit off to the side, arms loosely crossed but with genuine peace on his face. Rex and helmetless clones kneel at the front, flashing smiles. C-3PO stands very straight, and R2-D2 rocks on his treads happily. All around are faces of different species, ranks, and backgrounds, united. After the holo is taken, the festivities continue. The sun sets, and strings of lanterns and the bioluminescent glow of Naboo fireflies illuminate the garden party. The laughter and camaraderie are infectious. Luke finds a moment of quiet amid the celebration. He steps away to the edge of the courtyard where the silhouettes of the waterfalls are visible in the moonlight. He closes his eyes and reaches out with the Force, just feeling the harmony around him, so different from the turmoil he grew up with. Anakin comes up beside him, the glow of the lanterns reflecting in his blue eyes. Pretty incredible, isn't it? It truly is. I couldn't have imagined a happier outcome. Luke responds softly. Anakin places an arm around Luke's shoulders. You deserve it, son. You gave up everything to make this happen. Not everything. Luke nods toward the group where Padme and Ahsoka are coaxing Yoda into a gentle dance. I gained something too. Family. A bigger one than I ever dreamed of. Anakin smiles, and together they watch Yoda teach Ahsoka an old Coruscanti dance step, which Ahsoka playfully exaggerates, eliciting giggles from Padme. From a slight distance, Mace Windu observes Luke and Anakin. After a moment's thought, he approaches them, holding 3 small cups of Juma juice. Mind if I join you? Mace asks, unexpectedly cordial. Of course not, Master Windu, Luke responds. Mace hands a cup to Luke and one to Anakin. They toast quietly. I wanted to say, I was wrong about many things. Mace glances between Anakin and Luke. About both of you. The Jedi Order will endure because we learned to change. Because of you, Luke. Luke shakes his head modestly. It wasn't just me. It was all of us. Together. Mace nods in agreement. Perhaps the prophecy was never about one person, but a family. A lineage of Skywalkers. He allows a rare smirk. The Force is chosen to bring balance. They clink their cups and drink, unity and understanding passing between 3 generations of Jedi. Subscribe for Part 2.